Hello and welcome to the Dailies. The Washington, D.C. shooting dominated U.S. and international headlines, while the Hong Kong tower fires commanded global attention with grim images of mass casualties and frantic rescue efforts. In America, President Trump's Ukraine peace push remained under intense scrutiny, with new details prompting continued analysis. Meanwhile, in the UK, the press stayed fixated on Chancellor Reeves' budget, dissecting its tax rises and warning of sluggish long-term growth. In the US, headlines led with a security incident near the White House in which two National Guard members were shot and severely wounded. Officials identified the suspect as an Afghan national, prompting Trump to label the attack terrorism and to impose drastic measures as a result, which intensified political tensions amid existing legal disputes over his National Guard deployments. The New York Times details President Trump's forceful reaction to the shooting as he denounced the attack as terrorism and used the moment to escalate his hardline immigration agenda. The piece explains that the president vowed mass deportations and pausing all Afghan immigration applications. It goes on to say that President Trump also ordered 500 additional troops to Washington, intensifying an already contentious national debate over his expanded use of the National Guard in American cities. The report stipulates the incident without mounting legal battles over Trump's deployments and highlights growing concern that the shooting will further politicize immigration and military policing in the capital. American attention remained also focused on President Trump's Ukraine peace push as newly surfaced details shed light on how the proposal was crafted and the negotiations that shaped it. The New York Times also revealed how U.S. Army Secretary Daniel Driscoll has been using alarming intelligence on Russia to pressure European diplomats into backing the plan. The piece highlights how Driscoll warned of Russia's rapidly growing missile stockpile, saying Moscow is now manufacturing missiles faster than it fires them. Driscoll indeed conveyed to the Europeans that Russia is creating a reserve capable of devastating Ukraine's infrastructure and potentially threatening other European states. The report explains that his message delivered in Kiev was intended to justify a swift settlement that critics say disproportionately favors Russia. Analysts cited in the piece confirm Russia's expanding missile output, underscoring the urgency and peril shaping these negotiations. And as more information comes to light, Politico uncovers that the U.S. has refused to commit to long-term security guarantees for Ukraine until a peace deal with Russia is finalized. The report explains that Secretary of State Marco Rubio has made that clear to their European allies, saying that this condition reflects the broader strategy of the Trump administration, which links Western support to a diplomatic settlement. The piece underscores Kiev's concern, as well as its European backers, who consider security guarantees essential to any acceptable agreement. In an exclusive, The Washington Post reveals a growing clash between Trump and his chosen architect over the planned 900,000 square foot White House ballroom. The report recounts that the architects warned that the expansive addition would dwarf the original mansion, as the new ballroom would be double its size, violating fundamental architectural principles, while Trump insists on the project, even personally micromanaging design decisions. The piece also highlights that the renovation has already led to the demolition of the East Wing and also faces criticism for proceeding without public review or formal approval, relying instead on private funding from major corporations. The piece also underscores the fallout this is creating as preservationists, Democrats, and also architectural experts have decried the secrecy, the rapid pace, and also questionable donor influence, arguing that the project reflects a concerning shift in how the seat of the U.S. government is being reshaped. In an exclusive, the Wall Street Journal also reveals that after a call with the Chinese president, President Trump contacted Japanese Prime Minister to urge Japan to lower the volume on Taiwan-related rhetoric. The piece explains that Trump's intervention came after Beijing angrily responded to Tokyo's earlier warning that Japan might intervene militarily if China attacked Taiwan. The call also underscores Washington's intent to de-escalate tensions between its Asian allies, also prioritizing a fragile US-China thaw over Japan's hardline statements. British media has delivered a largely scathing verdict of the new budget, casting it as heavy on tax and light on growth. Commentators accused Labour of breaking key promises and tightening the squeeze on households through hidden rises. Many warn the plan risks locking Britain into years of stagnation. The Economist argues that this budget is a short-term patch rather than a long-term economic plan. The analysis contends that the budget increases taxes and borrowing to meet fiscal rules, but fails to address underlying issues such as low growth and poor investment. It also highlights the UK's weak productivity, high borrowing costs, and subdued growth, saying Britain needs structural reforms. The piece also underscores how the government appears to be buying time instead of offering a credible growth strategy. The Telegraph, on the other hand, offers a tool for readers to assess how Rachel Reeves' budget will affect their personal finances. In essence, a calculator breaks down the government's tax changes and spending proposals, including threshold freezes, potential levies, and other reforms, and invites individuals to enter their income details to see whether they end up richer or poorer under the new rules. The piece, as you can see, frames the budget as a substantial £26 billion tax-raising plan that could squeeze households, making the real impact on ordinary people clearer and more immediate. In Hong Kong, a massive blaze engulfed the Wan Phu Court housing estate in northern Hong Kong, killing at least 40 people and leaving 279 unaccounted for, with dozens more hospitalized. Across continents, from Western outlets to even regional news services, papers and broadcasters covered the incident, framing it as a major urban tragedy, focusing on safety failings, material hazards, and the human toll. South China Morning Post reported the fire spread rapidly through the complex's high-rise towers, where renovations involving bamboo scaffolding, plastic sheeting, and flammable materials may have fueled the inferno. The authorities also launched a criminal probe and arrested 3 men, 2 directors and a consultant from the renovation contractor, all on suspicion of manslaughter. The report also discusses early theories behind the fatal fire at Wan Phu Court, suggesting a mix of suspected causes. Experts and also residents point out to the poor fire resistance of the scaffolding and renovation materials, and also the rapid spread of burning debris in windy conditions, and also alleged responsible smoking by workers involved in the estate's renovation. And we'll end with The Guardian's TV review, which praises the famous Netflix series Stranger Things' 5th and final season. The report describes the new season as lavish, emotionally charged farewell that leans fully into its darker, more cinematic ambitions. It also explains that with the young cast now older, the show shifts from adolescent adventure towards deeper character drama, giving long underused figures such as Will and Nancy more substantial arcs. Also, the piece contends that the series retains the charm and nostalgia that defined its early years, delivering high-stakes action alongside affectionate callbacks. The finale, according to The Guardian, builds to an intense effects-driven climax that feels both spectacular and earned, offering fans a satisfying conclusion while honoring the show's Hawkins-centered mythology. It is, the review suggests, a grand and genuinely joyful send-off to one of Netflix's defining series. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Only on Al Arabiya English.